Everybody's going to say, I'm so talented. I'm looking for 200,000, 300,000, 500,000, $1 million. Everybody is worth a lot, right? So they are going to have their own prices that they are setting for themselves. But as a company, you want to make sure you are paying a competitive rate, because if you don't, you are probably not going to get the talent.
Or huge turnover.
Exactly. So companies want to pay fair, but they want to know how much everybody else is paying, and knowing that information is.
Growing a business requires a holistic approach that extends beyond sales and marketing. This approach needs alignment among people, processes, and technologies. So if you're a business owner, operations, or finance leader looking to learn growth strategies from your peers and competitors, you're tuned into the right podcast. Welcome to the WBS Podcast, where scalable growth using business systems is our number one priority. Now, here is your host, Sam Gupta.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's show. If you're joining for the first time, this is part of our industry series for which we meet every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. We review one vendor or the solution. And for today, and this is probably the fourth or fifth in our ACM category that we have been covering in the last few months. So for today, we have the big daddy of the payroll world, but they also have the ACM offering. So this is going to be ADP Vantage HCM. So we are going to have a lot of fun discussing that before we do that.
Big daddy, that sounds like you're a rapper.
Big Daddy rapper, exactly. And ADP is a rapper. They sell their ACM.
You have to go like this, Sam.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm not as cool as you, Andy. I'm trying. Yeah,
sideways or something. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
All right. So we are going to have a lot of fun just like this. But let's start with the intros first. Okay. So Andy, would you like to introduce first?
Oh, I'd so much like to. And Sam, you know, I can never thank you enough for inviting me to participate. I always enjoy these sessions. I always learn something, and thank you so much for inviting me again, Sam. My name's Andy Pratico. I've been involved in ERP software for manufacturers for all my life, and if you can tell by the look of my and how much hair I have, all my life is a long time. I started getting an ERP with manufacturers in 1981. Don't do the math, or you're going to really think I'm old, but I've worked all over North America. I've written, but I also written quite a bit. I have a published book on how to uncover the truth about ERP software before you buy, and I put on webinars and try and teach and try and help people. And again, thank you so much, Sam, and let's have a great show.
Amazing, and it's always a pleasure to have you, Andy. And we might be slightly slower, just like ERP systems, in understanding your jokes. But I have to tell you that we have been missing you for past 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, I think.
Bless you, Sam. Bless you.
Amazing. Once again, thank you so much, Andy, for being here. Shasta, would you like to go next?
Yeah, thank you, Sam. Hi, my name is Shrestha Das, and I'm part of the marketing team at Elevate IQ. And I'm super excited to be here today.
Amazing. Thank you so much, guys. And if you're in the audience and joining for the first time, make sure you guys post your questions, comments, stories, experiences. We generally utilize those in our research. But if you come across any sort of relatable anecdote or the stories, we are definitely interested in hearing those. So post those in the comment section. So on that note, Andy, Srashta, I'm going to start with the quick briefing of this solution. So as I have mentioned before, they are part of that HCM bucket, which is your human capital management, which is slightly different than other categories that we have reviewed. We have done a lot of different sessions on ERPs, your WMS, TMS, supply chain suites. So this is going to be slightly more from the HR perspective. For the most part, these solutions are going to reside inside that HR department. Overarchingly speaking, the role of a HCM suite is going to be to consolidate all of the HR processes, but those are also going to be the interactions that they are going to be making with any other systems in the operational architecture. And one of the common integration generally is your ERP systems. So here, so we have reviewed, and Srashta, I think you have done a lot more than Andy, especially in the HCM category. So I believe we have done SAP SuccessFactors, Oracle Cloud HCM, Then we have, I don't think we have done Infor so far. So I think we are going to do Infor WFM. We have done UKG Pro. We have done Ceridian as well. And one of the layers, how these solutions generally differ, and the best way to learn about this would be to look at our quadrants, and we capture some of those variables in those quadrants. So number one is going to be the size of the solution, and that is generally measured based on the size of the organization. So in general, if you look at the HCM market, HCM world, they segment based on your small, medium, and the large category. We generally divide among four different categories. So it's going to be startup, small, medium, and large. In their case, the large segment generally is defined as 1,000 plus employees. So this particular solution is positioned for that from the ADP's portfolio. ADP has many different solutions in their portfolio just for the HCM bucket, just like any other vendors in the market. For example, UKG has two different solutions in their portfolio. Ceridian has only one. Oracle, SAP, for the most part, they are enterprise players, so they are going to have only one solution. Workday also has just one solution. So here, ADP has very large presence in the SMB segment. That's how they sort of started. That's their major market is, but now they are trying to position themselves in the enterprise market as well. And from their lenses, from the HCM industry lenses, the enterprise market is going to be 1,000 plus employees in general, and that's where this particular solution is positioned. So this one is ADP Vantage, but I think they have ADP Now, and a lot of different vendors have a Now solution, I guess. So that might be a little confusing, but for ADP, this is going to be the enterprise solution. Now, overall, if you look at their background, how they originated, one of the layers that you might be able to understand, and this is the similar sentiment that you are going to find in the user reviews as well. For the most part, ADP did not create a product. Creating the product was not their bread and butter. Their bread and butter always was payroll. In fact, even today, if you go to the major ERP vendors, even the HCM vendors, okay, they all utilize ADP for payroll, even though they are positioning a solution in direct competition with them. So in general, ADP is going to be far more committed to their payroll market. So if you look at the number of solutions in the market that utilize ADP as their payroll solution, in fact, they are probably going to recommend that, you know what, don't use my payroll. If you like ADP, go for ADP, because you are going to find far more capabilities that I may not be able to support. And generally, those capabilities are going to be based on the number of countries that they might be able to support, the number of tax codes that they might be able to support from the payroll perspective. That's where the real limitation is. Even if you look at even large solution, for example, Oracle, they were hardly present in like 20, 25 countries. Then they are going to rely on partner solutions, and those are not going to be as well adopted. The other challenge that we had discussed, at least with UKG Pro solution, Srasta, you might be able to relate with that, recall that UKG Pro had many services offering, meaning they are going to support you for the US centric compliance processes, meaning they are going to be doing or managing all of the filings that you are going to do, whether you are looking at your federal filing, state filings, county centric filings. In the ACM world, you are going to have all of those as well. Sometimes you might even have city as well as unions. So they take care of a lot of those. Not every solution is going to have those offerings. For example, let's say if you look at Ceridian, Ceridian is slightly more technical solution. They are not necessarily going to help you with the compliance side of things. They are not going to have the managed services. For the most part, they are most likely going to rely on their partners for those compliance offerings, for the filings, and for the most part, you are probably on your own. And that is the biggest benefit that you are going to get with ADP Vantage solution, because not only they are going to help you from the managed services perspective, from the compliance perspective, but they are going to have capabilities for the international market as well. UKG was predominantly for the North American market, US and Canada. ADP is probably going to have the international capabilities as well. Again, even their capabilities are not going to be as robust, as rich as some of the other solutions that you might be able to find, but they at least have some exposure to international market, and they are probably going to have the most comprehensive exposure, from the compliance perspective. If you guys have any comments, I can take those, or I can keep moving.
Nope.
Okay.
Please move.
The competing technologies that you're looking at, I think we have been reviewing a lot of them. So Info-WFM, if you look at that competition, Info-WFM was primarily present in that scheduling space. Ceridian has some exposure to that as well. ADP is probably not going to have that. So even though they are calling that they have the complete ACM offering, but their ACM offering evolved over the period of time by acquiring many different solutions, but their capabilities even today is very lean from the ACM lenses. They are probably going to have benefits. They are going to have a lot of different insurance products, but primarily more from the lenses of payroll. They don't necessarily have the complete ACM capabilities. When you are looking at learning, development, you are going to find a lot more capabilities in other suites. In general, you are probably going to find the communication challenges as well that we generally see when we are looking at any sort of acquired solutions. So ADP did not develop these solutions from scratch. They acquired a lot of these capabilities and they try to integrate, but again, they have substantial communication challenges. We are going to review the user reviews as well. In those, you will find that it's almost like many different solutions in a box, and they can barely communicate, but the communication is not going to be as seamless as what you are going to find with products such as Ceridian, even though they are acquiring a lot of these capabilities as well, but they are not necessarily acquiring individual modules. They are acquiring more of the global capabilities. So the strategy is slightly different of what they are doing from the acquisition perspective. That's why you are not going to see as many negative reviews about them, especially when it comes to the communication of these different components. But with ADP, you are probably going to notice those in their reviews. The other layer that we like to touch on is the enterprise versus the SMB. So this is again the enterprise solution. So the right competition here is probably going to be Oracle HCM, SAP SuccessFactors. UKG Pro is primarily a mid-market solution, so I don't know if they are competing in that space or not. Workday is definitely going to be a competition. Ceridian is a very large product, at least as of today, so they are probably going to be a competition as well. Overall, from the industry layer perspective, we notice that a lot of these solutions are operating in the sports franchise space. Okay, so these are going to be your baseball teams, basketball teams, NFL teams, and they have very different and complex compensation structure that these solutions need to support. So we saw that UKG Pros was very prevalent in that market. Ceridian was very prevalent in that market. So even ADP is very prevalent in that market as well. And they have some of the capabilities which are fairly unique that you are probably not going to find with any other solutions if they are not targeting these market verticals. Retail, I think we discussed this in some of the last sessions as well, that retail is a fairly unique market vertical. So even though ADP is going to have some presence there, but when you look at the complex use cases, for example, workforce scheduling, that is happening at the store level. Generally, they would rely on some other add-ons, and that functionality might be tricky to work with when it comes to your ADP. So they might have a lot of capabilities from the finance perspective, but when you look at the core operational capabilities, that's where they are probably not going to be as strong, or they are going to rely on the partner solutions. Then we are going to have some more industries here. Manufacturing is a very tricky industry as well. ADP, I don't know how much business they are doing in manufacturing. It's going to be slightly trickier because they have similar challenges as your union reporting, your workforce scheduling, and that's where your solutions such as your Info WFM are probably going to be better fit. You also have issues related to harsh conditions. That's where your Ceridian really shines, and we had reviewed that capability as well in their review, that okay, when you are going to have the fingerprint scanning or the biometric scanning, and you don't necessarily account for the fact that the hands are going to be dirty when people are going to be doing their attendance process, sometimes you are going to struggle with that. So you need to have the interfaces. Those are designed for these harsh conditions, whether you are looking at very dirty facilities or you are looking at just the oil based facilities, or it could be just very hot temperature, cold temperature, all of those factors you need to look at when you are looking at any of the hardware devices that are going to support your attendance process, etc. Otherwise, you are going to have issues. People are probably not going to submit their attendance, and then you're going to have issues with your compensation. Some of the other industries, banking is very similar to retail. That's what we had discussed last time as well. They don't necessarily have as many complications as you're going to find in the other industries. At least we have not noticed so far. If they are going to require any unique capabilities, their workflow is going to be fairly similar to your retail. The org hierarchy, the way they are going to be, the org structure might be slightly different. But overall, the solution might work for banking. They do a lot of business there. Mining is going to be very interesting as well, especially from the harsh conditions perspective. Mining is a very interesting space, and they have some logos there as well. So this is going to be relevant for companies that are really looking for either the tech services or the payroll services, and they are looking for a system that can support global operations. That's where this solution is a really good fit. You are going to have capabilities, and again, these capabilities we have not reviewed with any other solutions that we have reviewed so far. So these are going to be your wedge garnishment, and that's a very unique capability. If you guys don't know what that means, typically you are going to have creditors that are going to have claim on your wedges. So let's say if somebody is employed and for whatever reason they have these claims either from the credit card companies or from the banks, etc., you are going to find these issues, especially when you are dealing with your sports franchises, because you are dealing with people who are not going to be, let's say they don't necessarily have the educational background or whatever, and they are going to have a lot of issues with their background, and you are hiring them just because of their talent, I guess. But then you need to take care of everything else that comes with that. So because of that, you are going to have, all of these processes. And generally, these are mandated by the government, and they don't even have to give the notice, I believe, for these processes. So these are very unique capabilities in certain industries where you're going to find those. If you don't have any other comments, I'll keep going here. So overall, from their solution portfolio perspective, and by the way, this is a public company, so we have a lot more details available about them. So the way they do their financial reporting is they have three different pillars. So they are saying we provide cloud-based HCM software. They are calling themselves as cloud-based. And yes, they are definitely cloud-based with supporting service and expertise that assist employers of different types and sizes and managing entire worker spectrum and employment from your full-time to freelancer, from hire to retire is the term that is generally used in the HCM industry. But again, they are going to have the recruitment solution as part of their portfolio. But based on my understanding, I don't think their recruitment solution is going to be as robust, as sophisticated. Generally, companies might be using the external ADP system when they get something like this. But let's say if you're looking for just one system that can do it all, then obviously Vantage is probably going to be your solution. But you might not have as rich capabilities, especially from the operations perspective inside the Vantage solution.
It's so amazing how much more detailed and accurate information we have to evaluate with publicly traded companies.
Yeah.
Private companies, you might get a ton of information, but you never know whether you can trust it.
Exactly. And here you are slightly legally accountable, I would say.
For... Yeah, totally. Not slightly. Not slightly. Totally.
Well, so Andy, I mean, we have seen some of the newer CFOs, to be completely honest. Okay, so if you look at the newer startup companies, for example, when we have reviewed Palantir, okay, if you look at the way they have framed their financial statements, I would say the CFOs might not be as seasoned.
Are they public though?
They are definitely public, and they are publicly
traded.
They are one of the hottest. They have like $1 trillion
I would think
valuation.
The auditors would be all over that.
Sometimes they understand the depth of the business, sometimes they don't. So you have a little bit of room, I would say. Some CFOs are really credible because they don't want to misstate anything.
No.
It's going to be their own personal reputation as well, and they have legal risk. So they are extremely cognizant of that. But other companies are not going to be as seasoned. Let me put it this way, I guess.
Sam, I love the way how you so eloquently describe these things.
Thank you so much, Andy. That's my job, I guess, as a host here.
I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, so we'll keep going here. So in their case, they have two or three different buckets. I think they are saying 3 pillars. We don't have third pillar. I don't know what they are doing there, but I think that's the probably global operations one. So they have the US HCM solution. That's how they are segmenting it. US HCM solution is going to be the any of the HCM capabilities that they are going to have in the US market. So they have bucketed them differently because for US their capabilities are going to be slightly different than your global market. And then they are also segmenting it based on the HRO solution. So this is going to be the same PEO capabilities that you might come across. In general, the PEO capability is the professional employer organization, is the acronym. And generally, that is going to be when you are outsourcing pretty much everything from the HR perspective. So this one is going to be slightly the branch of that. But here, these guys are responsible for the compliance reporting, etc. They are not necessarily doing the entire HR process. PEO is going to do a lot more in general. That's why they are calling themselves as HRO, but they have loosely referred to them as PEO as well, I guess. So overall, in terms of the buckets that they have mentioned, they have payroll administration, benefits administration, talent management, employer liability management. Again, that's the compliance piece, employee benefits function. So again, when I look at this, I am not getting the real operational pieces, to be completely honest. The only operational piece that we have really is the talent management, but other than that, they are slightly more finance, compliance, legal. Those are the capabilities that they have. So it's not necessarily the complete HCM suite, but they have a lot of capabilities underneath. Then they have the global solutions as well. That is probably the third pillar that they are referencing. So that's going to be your HCM and HRO solution, and this is going to be both local, in-country, and the cloud-based multi-country solution that they are referring to. So in-country solution is the one that is going to have your city, county centric compliance that you are probably going to be needing that you don't need in the ERP world. They have some more comments here. So obviously everybody has to have AI in their financial statements or nobody's going to invest in them. So they are mentioning that as well. So this is where, Andy, this is the sales pitch now. So yes, they are very credible, but
we are AI.
We are AI. Everybody has to be AI. Come on.
You have to be. Do you know what that means? No, we are it.
Exactly. Yeah. So AI drives many of the key features, but Andy, you need to pay attention to what they have. They definitely do have some data which is very unique and that nobody else is going to have. So I don't know whether they are going to have AI capabilities or not, but they definitely have infrastructure to be able to support those capabilities, and they can be used in certain scenarios that nobody else can match in the market. So that's where I'm really interested. So here they are saying AI drives many of the key features of ADP's data product, and they are branding it as data product, which is not necessarily AI. Data products have been there in the market for a very long time. Now they are going to get the AI flavor to make it slightly richer.
Sam? What's the difference?
Well, so data product could be, so at the end of the day, the role of AI is to do predictive forecasting, especially when you look at from these lenses. I'm not talking about generative. If you look at from the data lenses, the goal is, hey, you have incomplete, inaccurate data, and you are trying to forecast that, okay, can I get the complete picture? How reliably can I forecast, estimate something that I may not know? So from the HCM perspective and some of the blind spots that you are going to have as the business owner, as the HCM executive, is that you are looking for your performance benchmarking, right? So performance benchmarking, when I say number one is going to be comp benchmarking. And even for smaller companies, it's a heavy lift, okay? We have seen cases where companies are prospecting us because they are feeling that, we are a data company and we can help them do compensation benchmarking, but we don't necessarily have that data, to be completely honest, okay? So where it is going to really help them, Andy. So for example, let's say even if you have like 100 or maybe 200 employees, okay, and these are very expensive employees, and they are going to ask whatever they are going to ask, okay, in terms of the compensation. You know how this goes, right? Everybody's gonna say, I'm so talented, I'm looking for 200,000, 300,000, 500,000, $1 million. Everybody is worth a lot, right? So they are going to have their own prices that they are setting for themselves. But as a company, you want to make sure you are paying a competitive rate, because if you don't, you are probably not going to get the talent, right? And
or huge turnover.
Exactly. So companies want to pay fair, but they want to know how much everybody else is paying, and knowing that information is very hard. Nobody knows.
Nobody wants you to know.
Exactly. And that's where the problem is. So now with ADP, they have data for so many different organizations, so many different people, right? So that's
Are
where
they allowed
they
to
are.
publicize that though?
No, they are not allowed to publicize the sensitive information.
Okay.
But how the market works is you can definitely draw insights from that. Nobody stops you from doing that, I guess.
Right. So they kind of walk a tightrope, and then you make your own conclusion. They tell you a
No,
little bit.
no. So they can tell you at the summary level. So let's say if you ask them the question, okay, how many employees do we have in the US that are going to be Java developer? Or how
Okay.
many Java developers do we have that are being paid the rate of,
Specific
let's say,
skill set.
exactly. So this is where your benchmarking is going to be handy. In this particular case, they are not necessarily releasing the information how much ND is making or how much Sresta is making, but they are releasing at the global level, and that information is like it's gold for anybody.
No, I'll say.
So that's where the real secret sauce is. So that's where their AI offering is extremely compelling, at least in my mind, because they have the largest database, I would say, from the payroll perspective, from the employee information perspective. So that's what they are saying. So they are saying ADP Data Cloud's skill graph, our proprietary data structure, is based on more than 43 million employee records. And again, we have seen some numbers with Ceridian and Sresta. I don't know if you remember those numbers. I think they were saying, I don't think it was 300 million. I guess it was 3 million or something. That is my recollection. The highest number that we saw with Ceridian from the Canada perspective, I think they were running the federal payroll. And in that, I think they were able to process the payroll for roughly 3 million federal employees. Obviously, that is just one number. They are going to have a lot more in the US and Canada. So if you look at the total number, they are going to have a lot, but I really don't think they are going to have as many as what ADP is going to have. So here they have more than 43 million employee records, 95 million resumes. Can you believe that? Yeah, 9 million job postings. But a lot of companies are going to have job postings and resumes. Companies like Dice, Indeed probably might be able to match. I don't know if they are going to have as many from the recruitment perspective. Maybe Indeed is probably going to have more. But their secret sauce is that core financial sensitive data that nobody else is going to have.
Right.
Yeah. Uh, More than 20 industries, that doesn't mean anything. 500 geographic areas, that also does not mean ton. And they are saying, again, they are doing LLM to extract, align, and normalize key information such as skills, job titles, and levels, education qualification. But again, I think that the real strength is in their data, and the comprehensiveness of that data is where I'm really excited about this. And this is the benchmark comment that they have. They are talking about benchmarking for up to 160 million workers. They are doing the compensation benchmarking. In my mind, that's a big deal, guys. That's really a big deal if they have for 160 million workers.
Very large sample.
It's a very large sample, exactly. Now, they have some announcement here. They are saying we launched the Role by ADP mobile first solution, reimagining how small businesses do payroll. In my mind, I think this capability is very similar to what Ceridian was trying to do. So here they are saying this benchmark, this groundbreaking payroll solution. And I don't know if this is really groundbreaking. I think what Ceridian had done was groundbreaking. So I don't know who started it. But both of them are claiming they both are groundbreaking. Payroll solution utilizes an AI-powered chat interface to turn traditional payroll management, and they were using very similar verbiage to describe their capability, as ADP is using, to turn traditional payroll management into an intuitive conversation that can complete payroll in under a minute, leveraging ADP's long-standing payroll expertise and data security. Again, for me personally, the chat interface is just a widget. That's not as meaningful. But the way Ceridian had described this capability was slightly more meaningful because they were saying on-demand pay. On-demand pay for the people who, and their alternative is going to be to go for a payday loan, which was a much heavier hit for them. So that was far more accurate description. And in my mind, I think that is the capability that they are trying to describe. But they are highlighting chat interface a lot more than the real capability that is going to be far more meaningful for the employees as well as for employers. Then they are talking about our innovative Wisely payment and financial wellness offering includes a suite of personalized banking alternative. So again, very similar description of the capability solutions designed to give employee fast and flexible choices to access their pay and other sources of income. Wisely Pay is a network branded pay card. So they are issuing a pay card, it seems, with a digital amount. Everybody is trying to release a card because that increases the loyalty. You are going to get a lot of discount, and they are going to have the network of the companies that are going to be offering their offerings through this network, and that's how everybody sort of makes money, right? And they all are trying to guard their network. So obviously ADP is going to have that, and card is the easiest way to do that. So through which employees can access their pay, make purchases online. Again, that's where the real deal is of these cards. They are trying to make sure that all employees buy from that card and not from Amazon's card. Everybody is trying to influence everyone to their card, and that's why they are introducing these cards. Make purchases online and in store, but overall, from the employer perspective, you are getting a centralized view of these purchases in terms of what employees are purchasing. You have a lot more control. You are going to have workflows where you might be able to control those things as well. So there is a plus for the employers as well. In-store deposit checks, load additional funds onto the card, and transfer funds to a bank account in the United States. So there is definitely a benefit, especially from the employee workflow perspective. This is going to be much easier. They don't have to go anywhere. They can get their money deposited in their bank account very easily. So obviously, you are definitely improving the employee experience, but there is the other layer with it as well, more from the control perspective. They have mentioned the earned wage access, EWA, and automatic savings options, cashback, rewards, and bill pay that help employees take even more control of their finances. Then they are talking about general purpose reloadable card that comes with a digital account, provides similar features and functionality, but is offered directly to consumers. Our digital card offerings are again a sales pitch in my mind, but again, it is very similar offering as your Ceridian. So they are trying to launch very similar offering here. Then we have some more comments here. This is Run powered by ADP. So this is the Run offering serving over 850,000 small businesses. ADP Workforce Now, and all of these screenshots are coming from their financial statements, how they have described their capabilities. So we are simply trying to analyze that. So ADP Workforce Now serving more than 80,000 mid-sized and large businesses across our strategic pillars. ADP Vantage HCM. So the point that you need to draw from this is they have three different solutions. So the Run is the small solution that they have. Then they have the ADP Workforce Now, which is your mid-size solution. Run Now, and then Vantage is the enterprise solution. And today we are reviewing Vantage. So three different products. They are designed for the market segment.
Are they defining what they call small, mid, and large sizes?
They have defined.
You know what they are?
I think their buckets are 50 and below is small, 50 to 1,000 is the mid, and 1,000 and up is the large.
It's got it right there. Right, they're just too small for me to see.
Where did you see that?
Underneath the small business, mid-sized business, and large business. You were right.
Exactly, in the image, I guess. Where are you seeing that again, Andy? Oh, yeah, right. Yep.
Yeah, it's very, very small.
Yep. It's right here. So 49, 50 to 999, and more than 1,000 employees. Sorry about these small fonts, guys.
That's okay. I wouldn't have asked if I would have read the screen.
Amazing, guys. So we can move on. So here we have some more comments. We address the needs of over 65,000 clients with premier global solutions consisting of in-country solutions and multinational offering include ADP Global View is the offering that is the global offering, but they are segmenting these offerings completely. I'm pretty sure they are probably going to price them differently as well, just because it's a completely separate product bucket as well as offering. They have a lot more other offerings that we did not see with some of the other solutions that we have reviewed so far. So they have the health and welfare you are going to find with most solutions, leave administration that you are going to find with most ACM products, the insurance carrier enrollment services that could be very deep in itself. So I don't know how robust ADP Vantage offering is, but let's say if you are going to be in the benefits administration, or if you're doing any sort of reporting to your insurance carrier, then you will require far more integration there. Some solutions are going to be very deep if they are winning in that insurance vertical. in general, or if they have a lot of benefits bucket as part of their benefits offering. The employee communication services and dependent verification services, I don't think we have seen that anywhere else so far. So I don't know how many different solutions have that, but that's a very interesting capability as well. And this is the comment related to their managed services. So they are saying we prepare and file employment tax returns for our clients on our clients' behalf, and in connection with these standalone services, collect employment taxes from clients and remit these taxes to more than 8,000 federal, state, and local tax agencies. And this is the same number, exact same number that we saw with UKG Pro as well. So their capabilities are fairly similar there. If you don't have any other comments, I'll keep moving to the next one. Some more comments here coming from their financial statements. They are saying without licensed insurance agency, ADP Insurance Agency Incorporation, and they have an entity they have incorporated just for this, and they are trying to facilitate access in the US to workers' compensation and group health insurance for SMB clients through a variety of insurance carriers. So it seems like they are number one incorporated. Number two, they are probably registered broker. That is something that we did not see with the other offerings. So they are kind of unique from the insurance lenses perspective. The retirement services, I think this is very common and similar with the other solutions as well. So they are doing traditional and 401ks, profit sharing. All of these are very common, very similar offerings. I'm not seeing anything that is unique here. One thing that we did not notice with the other solutions, I'm pretty sure the enterprise solutions are going to have that. But when you look at the stock compensation, okay, these capabilities get very deep as well. So here they have explicitly mentioned that executive deferred compensation of plans, and they are doing that plus the stock compensation as well. And then they have the ADP Retirement Services offers a full service 401k plan program which provides record keeping and admin services combined with an investment platform offered through ADP Broker Dealer Incorporation. So they have a real legal entity. I really don't know if any other solutions have that. So that's a very unique offering that they have. I don't have anything else that I want to touch on. So this is coming from a customer story, and Covidian is their client. Obviously, this is a big one, and they have roughly what 30,000 employees. Can you believe this? So the majority of the clients that are going to be on the Vantage solution are going to be fairly large in nature. So this is the global healthcare products company and manufacturer of medical devices and supplies. So I don't know if we saw a lot of medical devices exposure for the solutions that we have reviewed so far. I'm pretty sure companies like SAP is going to have very deep exposure to medical device. They do a lot of business there. So SAP SuccessFactors is going to be present there. Workday, that is not their core market, so I don't know how much they are going to be present there. Oracle is present in pharma. They might do some medical device as well, so they might be present there. But the smaller players, I don't know if I have seen the medical device logos with those. They have some healthcare, but not necessarily medical devices. So this is new. Globally, Covidian has roughly what 38,000 staff. And again, when you are going to have that global presence, and they are covering 4 different regions: US, AMEA, LATAM, as well as APAC. And they have a headcount of 7,000 spread across those 45 different locations. So again, when you look at this international exposure, the only solutions that can cover this kind of capability is probably going to be, your Ceridian. They are going to have payroll capabilities. Everybody else, from the payroll perspective, even the larger players, for example, Workday, we have seen Workday using ADP for payroll. Can you believe this? So even though both of them have ACM capabilities, but Workday uses ADP, and Workday is a ACM offering, but they are going to use ADP. We have seen Oracle HCM using ADP payroll capabilities as well. So pretty much everybody in the market use ADP for payroll capabilities, but they have their own ACM solution as well. But I don't think this is their go-to offering. Their go-to offering always is going to be, because when you are going to be competing with them, obviously there's going to be a little friction in the relationship. So overall, from the messaging perspective, ADP is most likely going to say that their bread and butter is really payroll, and they would rather not lose that revenue than for this, whatever they are going to get as part of their ACM solution. Now, we have some more case study here. This is coming from the entertainment or from the golf space. So this is going to be your sports franchise. So in this particular case, they are saying we recently ventured into a different line of business with golf in entertainment. And when you are going to have many different business models, sometimes the smaller solutions might not be able to scale for all of those business models, and that's where your larger solutions are going to be slightly superior fit. So they are talking about in a company called Big Shots Golf, and at Big Shots Golf, most of the employees are food and beverage employees. Can you believe this? And we have seen for food and beverage employees, the processes are very different because they are tipped employees, and for those, the compensation is going to be very different. And that's where we saw some of those logos with your UKG Pro. They had that capability. With Ceridian, we saw that capabilities as well. So it seems that ADP can cover that too. So a lot of solutions in the market have these capabilities. And again, their installations are very retail friendly as well. So which is very interesting that a lot of solutions in the market are targeting very retail centric establishment. That's where I guess the real play of payroll is, and that's why they have a lot of logos in the retail space. If you guys don't have any other comments, I'll keep moving here. Now, this is going to be a very interesting combination. So, Andy, this is Infor. So, in this particular case, this is integrated with Infor Lawson. So, Infor has their own WFM solution, which is going to be slightly more HCM. That's how they are going to position themselves. But for the most part, if you look at the core payroll capabilities, even the Lawson solution, which is very, very, very deep into the HCM centric processes, even they are using ADP for their payroll capability. So here they have utilized this for. I was contacted recently by an ADP team member asking me if I would be interested in walking through a demonstration of a recent feature available in the ADP Data Cloud. So they are using ADP Data Cloud, and I really don't believe anybody else is going to have as comprehensive coverage as ADP Data Cloud, especially from the benchmarking perspective, from the data coverage perspective. So they are saying workforce compensation analysis. And as a complete fan of ADP Data Cloud's capabilities, so obviously they like this. I was on board immediately. One of the most valuable results I found using WCA is being able to access all our pay data in one place. And here they are talking about hiring managers through a detailed screenshot of compensation structure and how it measures up against the external market on a broader scale. And they have given an example. For example, there have been issues with driver pay recently. Obviously, the world has changed dramatically due to COVID-19, and getting CDL drivers has been a nightmare for some companies. So when drivers are coming in saying another company is offering $23 an hour compared to $20 we are offering, I can quickly use the WCA feature to verify whether that information is accurate. And those $3 they add up, and that's going to be millions and millions of dollars. So again, huge value prop of the data cloud offering. This is the ADP Smart Compliance, case study. I guess this is they are using for all of the Hard Rock cafe locations. So again, this is a very restaurant centric case study, and here they are saying that they have about 4,000 to 5,000 employees across the country in all the cafes. They were on a different payroll system. The casino payroll has been on Infinium, and that's a very, very, very different process. Yeah, even in the entertainment industry, the casino is going to have very different process just because their compensation structure is very different than your restaurant business. So again, not many solutions can do it all. So that's where your ADP is probably going to be handy because they can cover a lot of grounds when you are going to have such diverse business model. Okay, so now this is a case study of in United Supermarkets, I guess. I mean, that's the first one that we are going to cover, and then there's one more, which is your Semtech. So we have two of them here. So first, let's do the United Supermarkets. So here we continue to make ongoing improvements. For example, when we first implemented ADP, we put in place the biometric scanners that use thumbprints for time clocks. Okay, and but in their case, they didn't appreciate that technicians over time were off their fingerprint. Can you believe this? And again, this is the harsh conditions that they were talking about. Ceridian is really known for these capabilities, and these capabilities you are not going to review when you are looking for an ACM solution, but they will give you a lot of hard time in general because you are not going to get data, and then you are probably going to have issues because of that. They are saying it's a pretty dusty environment. Most people just ignore this or don't think about these things, and they got the hardware and then it didn't work. So we struggle to make those effective and get them utilized by our technicians. We have since moved to the mobile app for our teams to be able to do the time clock. So again, harsh conditions is a real feature that you need to pay attention to. One more comment, since we have integrated with our applicant tracking system, and in their case, even though they are using ADP, they are using Oracle talent acquisition system, and that would be my expectation. Their recruiting capabilities are not going to be as deep. Their core ACM capabilities, the operational capabilities are not going to be as deep. So they are going to use something else, but they are going to use ADP for payroll, benefits, etc. I run one report every day to ensure that the hiring manager completed the last step of the process. That's now fully automated. So they are doing a lot of heavy lifting in between those systems. One more comment here coming from this case study, which is going to be your Semtech. So in this particular case, they are saying Vantage was the only product that we knew about that offered international support at that time. And I think this is coming from 2015. Now a lot more solutions may have the international capabilities, especially Ceridian. They have a lot more international coverage now. We had known that ACA reporting was also coming in 2015, so we did do our homework and decided that it would be better just to go with ADP for ACA compliance support as well. And again, ACA compliance gets very deep in general. The health compliance module just naturally went with Vantage, and it really makes my job so much easier because it's part of the whole ADP package. 9 minutes right now, so we'll go for some more slides and then we'll probably open up for commentary. Okay, so one more case study here. So this is coming from Pacers, sports and entertainment. Again, a lot more entertainment logos in general. I don't know what is happening with the HCM world, but they just seem to be doing a lot more business here, primarily because the compensation structure is very complex. That could be the reason why they have a lot more adoption in general compared to other industries. Here we have some comments. We found that ADP, we have been with them now for 11 years, in which we have had a lot of changes within our business and have had to call them on them to help us with various things. ADP helps us get what we need done and does it correctly. And she is talking about the compliance piece. In general, you require a lot more hand holding because nobody is going to know the tax codes of those 8,000 counties. It's a huge, it's a much heavier lift in a general. One of the challenges that you are going to notice in the reviews is that generally ADP is going to have a designated rep, but they are going to have a lot of specialized consultants. You need to work with them to be able to get these answers. You are not going to have as much centralized exposure as you might be able to find with a lot of other companies. So that is a little con that you might need to keep in mind. Here they are talking about, for instance, we have about 600 stage hands, and I don't think we have seen this term used with anybody else, that are paid at various rates. And look at the rate structure, how complex that is. One person may have 10 different rates in a 2 week time period because every 15 minutes they get paid a different rate.
Is that because of unions or tasks or tasks?
Yeah.
Right.
They are really expensive, so they are literally negotiating for every bits and pieces. That would be my take on this. And we are talking about celebrities that are literally charging like millions and millions of dollars for every 5 minutes. And obviously, they are not going to get the same rate for every segment that they are doing. Okay, so some more comments here. And by the way, I mean, this was a manual process. Can you believe this? I think you require 15 people just to do this. Number one, data capture. That is very hard. Most likely, it is going to be wrong. And then the competition is very complex as well. By the way, this is complex, but then they have some more complexity here. So wedge garnishment that we were talking about, that is a very complex process as well. And this is mandated by your government agencies, the federal, state agencies, credit unions, etc. So here, wedge, garnishment is not a fun task. So having ADP take the entire process off my hands has been very helpful, and makes it less stressful for me. It's very important that wedge garnishment are applied correctly. Otherwise, our employees are going to experience issues. We have not had any issues with this particular process in 11 years. Again, that's a big deal, guys. And these are some of the explanation of what that is. So it's a method of debt collection in which part of your earnings are withheld each pay period. So it's going to be very similar process as your any other tax or credit union centric processes, but this is very unique and ad hoc in nature. And then you are withholding that amount and then you are paying back to the creditors. Again, very interesting. Okay, guys, we have 6 more minutes. Do you guys have a lot of comments or do you want to go for one more slide?
One more slide.
So we have some reviews here. So this is coming from 2021, and some of the validations that you might be able to do. So this is coming from the that 1,000 to 5,000 employee segment. So obviously you know that they are being installed in this particular space. They are complaining about that the interface is a bit tricky, but eventually get used to it. So most likely in these cases they are probably not utilizing as much consulting help when you are dealing with any of the enterprise product. Okay, you are going to have a lot of layers, and if you don't do the right training, change management, you are probably going to have a lot of issues in general. So it's not necessarily
like
on
you
the product.
using any software.
Exactly. So it's not really on the software, it's probably on the user in this particular case. Time module time cards only retain the primary rate of pay for reporting. It would be great to see additional rates that are paid to reflect the secondary rate in terms of in the calculation of. And again, it doesn't seem like this is the right feedback, to be completely honest. And the reason for that is because obviously they have a lot more complexity, and some users have reported that they are able to manage a lot more complex process, especially when you look at processes such as your what is that stage hands process that we were looking at, and now they are complaining about secondary rates. So again, this could be more of the implementation issue, but seems like users have reported, so that could be a con that you might need to dig further. I don't think we have seen a solution that has done any business in paper and forest industry. So these guys have logo there. Info does a lot of business, so Info WFM most likely you are going to find there, but seems like these guys are able to do there as well, which is interesting. And they have similar employee count. They are talking about user security, granularity. I can fine tune access exactly rather than giving someone too little or too much access. In this particular case, your workflow security is definitely going to be relevant. Most of the enterprise products are going to have that, but most of the smaller products are probably not going to have. So, but the capability is critical. The smaller products, you are not going to get that, even though they are going to be easy to use. So again, it's a choice that you need to make in terms of what you're looking for. Are you looking for the security, workflow security, or are you looking for ease of use option? Now they are complaining about reports. I mean, this has been a consistent complaint about their reporting capabilities. Some users have said that, hey, just give me SQL and I'll figure it out. It's not as easy with the enterprise product. So even though you are asking for SQL interface, it would not be as easy. Okay. So number one, invest in the learning and training how to use the reports. But overall, I think their reporting capabilities are fairly on a leaner side, because we have seen a lot of like every single user in reviews, they have reported that their reporting capabilities are not as great. So that's a huge red flag for them. So definitely vet in terms of which reports you are going to need and if you are going to have those pre-baked. Otherwise, you are going to be investing a lot in building those reports. So that's pretty much it. I will open up for your comments, guys. Andy, any comments?
Yeah, I mean ADP. I've been in the business a long time. ADP has always been a leader for payroll specifically.
Yeah.
What they used to call HR, but HCM functionality now, and they're obviously world class. I mean, everything that we've learned today, I think it only just goes hand in hand with what I would have assumed, and they are an excellent product, an excellent company.
Yeah, no, great point. Thank you so much, Andy. Srishna, do you have any comments, questions, observations?
As Andy said, that I think payroll capabilities is one of their bread and butter, and even though some of their capabilities are quite similar to their competitors like Ceridian, but they have certain unique ones like wage garnishment, and also insurance services, and I think their presence in medical device sector also makes them a little bit unique as compared to their competitors.
Yeah, could not agree more. I think great observations, and those were the unique things that we have seen with this one compared to the other reviews that we have done. Any follow-ups? Any other comments, Andy? There?
No. I mean, hey, this is a world-class company and a world-class product. It's you probably could keep discussing it and talking about it forever, but thank you very much, Sam.
Amazing, guys. So that's a wrap. If you joined for the first time, this was part of our industry series for which we meet every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you guys are going to be here next week. We're going to come back with another solution or the winter. On that note, thanks everyone for tuning in today.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the WBS Podcast. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. For more information on growth strategies for SMBs using ERP and digital transformation, check out our community at WBS.rocks. We'll see you next time.